Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. In today's video, I want to discuss Microsoft Azure Synapse, a data engineering platform that's crucial for any organization that's looking to be data-driven in today's fast-paced digital landscape. Let's get started. First things first, let's talk about data engineering. Why is it so important? We're generating more data than ever before, and raw data is just that. It's raw. It needs to be cleaned, managed, analyzed to derive any meaningful insights. Being able to quickly analyze data helps businesses stay ahead of the competition. Quality data engineering helps to ensure that data is accurate, enabling organization leaders to make informed decisions and stay competitive. Okay, so you're sold on the importance of data engineering, but why would you choose Azure, specifically Azure Synapse, when there's so many other options out there? Let's take a little stroll down memory lane, shall we? Azure Synapse is by no means a newborn baby in the tech world. It's got a lot of history. It's evolved from what was initially known as SQL Data Warehouse, one of Azure's flagship data storage and analytical solutions. Microsoft rebranded and expanded SQL Data Warehouse into Azure Synapse to create an analytics service that doesn't just warehouse your data, but works as an integrated platform to analyze it too. This rebranding was not just a name change, but a radical overhaul, expanding its capabilities to offer an all-in-one data analytics solution and setting the tone for how seriously Microsoft takes the topic of data engineering. Now let's dig into some of the features that make Azure Synapse a must-consider platform for industry leaders. First off, it offers an integrated environment. What does that mean? In layman's terms, it's your one-stop shop for all things data. Azure Synapse brings together big data and data warehousing capabilities into one unified platform. You can run powerful query processing, ETL, aka extract, transform, load tasks, data exploration, and even machine learning tasks, all within a single service. This consolidation makes it remarkably easy for data engineers, data scientists, and even business analysts to collaborate. Imagine having all your tools in one toolbox rather than scattered around a workshop. Efficient, right? Moving on, let's talk about scalability. Whether you're a startup with small data needs or a multinational corporation dealing with petabytes of data, Synapse can scale with you. It uses a massively parallel processing architecture, which essentially means that it can handle anything from small data sets to huge enterprise-level databases. And the best part? You can adjust resources with just a few clicks, scaling up or scaling down based on your needs. No need to get into the nitty-gritty of hardware configurations. Azure handles all of that for you. Next up is security. Azure comes with enterprise-level security features like virtual network services, managed private endpoints, and firewall rules. Azure ensures that your data is fortified like a vault. Azure also provides robust features like encryption, both at rest and in transit, and identity and access management through Azure Active Directory. And then finally, being a Microsoft product, Azure Synapse integrates seamlessly with other Microsoft tools and services, allowing for an even more streamlined workflow. What's not to like? So now I wanted to share my screen and give you guys a quick demo of Azure Synapse Analytics, the workspace, and some of the features within. So let me share my screen here. All right, so we're here in the Azure portal. As you can see here, we have a few resources deployed into this resource group. We have the actual Synapse workspace itself. We have a data lake that we'll be pulling some data from, a key vault for storing various secrets, the actual virtual network where the Synapse workspace is integrated into. So with that, I'll actually go into the Synapse workspace. Essentially looks like just any other Azure resource, various settings, configurations that we can do from here. But for the most part, I want to show the actual Synapse Studio. As you can see up here, we can actually add SQL pools, Apache Spark pools, Data Explorer pools, but for the most part, I'm going to be working in the Synapse Studio for the sake of this video. So with that, you can just come down here and open that up, and this will bring you to the actual Synapse workspace. And here we have the actual home page, just some basic information about the Synapse, Knowledge Center, resources, etc. But over here on the left-hand side, we have the data page. Note that there are two tabs containing data sources. So there's a workspace tab that has defined workspaces. Right here, we have a SQL serverless pool, which is capable of auto-scaling on demand. So essentially, you'd only pay for the compute that you actually use when you run a query, whereas a dedicated SQL pool would provision fixed resources, so you would incur hourly charges, but it would provide predictable performance and workload isolation. So really, it depends on the scenario that you're working in. But yeah, you can come up here, create a new SQL database, and you have the option of selecting serverless or dedicated. And next up, we have the late tab containing data sources that are late the actual workspace. This includes things like Azure Data Lake, blob storages. We even have some integration data sets over here. So yeah, this was the actual data lake that I was showing you earlier. I think I have some data in here. Yeah, I think I have some of this. I think this is just a generic. Well, actually, I don't have anything. Yellow text data. Yeah, I have a Parquet file here with some basic data. And there are lots of different sources. So connect to an external source. Connect to there's like a blob storage, Cosmos DB. There are various sources that I believe you can connect to here. Browse gallery. I think that would allow for even more data sources to link to. So next up, we have our develop page. This is where you can define various scripts to develop data processing solutions. Let's just look at one of the SQL scripts. So here I was actually creating, if you recall, I had that Parquet file. I was running some basic SQL query scripts on that to create an actual external table from that data. And then I could even run some actual queries on that data itself and see the results directly in this page. I'm not sure if this will, so I think this is running, but again, this is of course, the downside. I'm using serverless right now, so it is a little slower at times, whereas a dedicated SQL pool would be almost instantaneous. So there we go. So yeah, I can just run any kind of normal SQL queries on these actual Parquet files that are located in my data lake. I have various data here. I could add a where clause and filter this by trip distance, etc. So lots that I can actually do here. And then there's even notebooks as well. I believe these, so I'm using just Python, PySpark. Have these various notebooks that could then be attached to a Spark pool. At this time, I don't have any Apache Spark pools. Next up is the integrate tab. Basically, we use this page to manage data ingestion and integration assets. So things like pipelines to transfer and transform data between various different data sources. So I'll just click one of these pipelines. And as you can see here, there's lots of different tools or tasks rather that we could play around with. So we can actually create a pipeline using drag and drop. Again, we can perform like a copy operation from one data lake to another, or from a data lake to a storage account. And then when that's done, let's say we wait for 30 seconds and then call an Azure function with that data. So all drag and drop, don't really need to know much coding. That's one of the beauties of Azure Synapse. Everything, it's like even here, like when performing the copy operation, we just fill out these forms. So like this could be my copy from source to guest data lake. And we'd have various parameters here, timeout, retry, etc. We'd select the source. So this is a sample CSV source that I believe is in my linked data sets. A sink, which is where this is going. I'm not sure. I think this is linked to one of the blob storages that I have. So you just basically fill these out. No code required. Of course, you might need to write some simple SQL queries or Python scripts. So in some instances, there is code required, but for the most part, it's just filling out these forms. Next up, we have the actual monitor page. This is where you can actually observe various data processing jobs as they run. You can view their history. You can, so for example, like our SQL pools, this is obviously the built-in serverless one that I was showing you earlier, but if I were to run a big query, we could actually see its CPU usage, memory usage. This would go for dedicated pools as well. Apache Spark pools, Data Explorer, any kind of SQL requests that we might have ran. I believe this was the query that I just run a few seconds ago, so we can kind of see where it failed, or in this case, it was successfully completed. And then, for pipeline runs, if I were to run that pipeline, we could see the overall status of this. So just a page for kind of monitoring everything that goes on throughout this. And then there's the manage, which is just various things like access control. Synapse has its own whole set of, RBAC roles and permissions, things like that, credentials, so system managed identities that are here. I think we have actually all of our linked services. So again, as I was saying earlier, I've linked various blobs, key vaults. This is, data lakes, so all my linked services. So lots of different integrations, and then it can even integrate with Git here, which is what I've done. So I guess this is just more so where you go in to manage everything. So like I said, I just wanted to go over briefly, just kind of show some of the high-level features of Azure Synapse. So there you have it, folks. Azure Synapse is not just another tool, but rather a comprehensive solution designed to take your data engineering efforts to the next level. If you're serious about leveraging data for your organization's success, Azure Synapse is certainly worth considering. We've started recommending it to many of our clients, and I must say they absolutely love it. It is a breeze to work with when compared to other solutions. So with that being said, don't forget to hit that like button. If you found this video helpful, leave any questions and comments you have below. And until next time,